You can see my content here is divided by me about 5 parts, and you can see the first 4 parts of my PowerPoint, and the last part is the future of the Ukraine in the post-war era. Now we turn to chapter 1, which is the background of the war. First is the geopolitical interest, and you can see two main aspects here. The first one is the NATO expansion, because of the NATO continues to go in eastward expansion, has posed a threat to Russian security, which also a key factor in the Ukraine being caught in the middle of the conflict. As you can see in the map here, the Ukraine is located just in the middle with Russia and NATO, which is very important. And the next aspect is the energy resources. Ukraine's geographical location makes it crucial transit country for energy resources, leading to intense competition and geopolitical fractions. That's because there are two main pipelines that transfer the oil from Russia to Europe, which are, first is Nord Stream, which goes through the Baltic Sea, and the next line is going through the Ukraine. And the next part is internal political divisions in Ukraine. First one is Israel's divide. The divide between pro-Western and pro-Russian East in Ukraine has long existed, causing political instability and polarization, because the president before the Zelensky, which is President Yanukovych, is some kind of preferring to the Russia, and the current president Zelensky is more preferred to have connections with the West. So we came to the next chapter, the impact on Ukraine society. The first one is humanitarian crisis, which is talking about the displacement of people and the loss of lives. As you know, when the war broke out, a large number of Ukrainians have been forced to leave their homes, facing difficulty in finding shelter, food, and medical care. And the reason behind this is well known, which is bombings and some kinds of wars like that. Also, it have to cause some loss of lives. Second is economic downturn. The infrastructure, first one is destruction of infrastructure and decline of key industries because of the reasons I mentioned above, which is displacement of people and loss of lives. So, next chapter, chapter 3, Ukraine's diplomatic responses. Now, first is seeking support from Western countries, which are military aid and diplomatic pressure on Russia. Ukraine has been actively seeking military aid from Western countries to enhance its combat capabilities against Russia. And the reason is mentioned above, which is President Zelensky has some kind of pro-Western preference. Second is diplomatic pressure on Russia. Through diplomatic channels, Ukraine has urged Western countries to impose sanctions on Russia to put pressure on the latter. International organizations involvement, which are mainly about United Nations role and EU supports. United Nations has played a role in meditating the conflict and providing humanitarian assistance to Ukraine. That is EU support. The Ukrainian has provided economic and political support to Ukraine, aiming to strengthen its influence in the region. Chapter 4, Future Prospects for Ukraine. First one is reconstruction and recovery. two main continue to recover when the war ended, which is infrastructure and social reconciliation. After the war, Ukraine needs to invest a lot of resources in rebuilding its damaged infrastructure to promote economic recovery. Because as you know, the broken houses and factories do not produce any goods, so which would cause a very low GDP per capita, and the war would also cause some divide among the social between different ethnic groups. Next is geopolitical positioning, which are mainly about balancing the relation with Russia and the West. Ukraine needs to find balance in its relation with Russia and the West to ensure its national security and development interests. As you can see in the graph, which is the same graph that I quoted about, the location of Ukraine is very critical because it's just right in the middle of Russia and NATO. Also, because the President Zelensky wanted to join NATO, which has posed a great threat to Russia. So it has to balance the relations with Russia and NATO countries to prevent the war from happening again. Justify lessons learned from and future applications. First is diplomatic solutions, the importance of dialogue and negotiation. Dewar has highlighted the importance of dialogue and negotiating in resolving conflicts rather than resorting to military force. You can see in the graph, and also, if you watch the news recently, the President Zelensky has signed a ceasefire treaty for 30 days with Putin to reorganize its army in order to counterattack the Russian tactics. The second is role of international organizations. International organizations like United Nations and OTSE should play a more active role in promoting peace and stability. Because those organizations should promote its influence to have more peace and stability in Ukraine. Touching is international and sovereignty. Both sides of the war need to follow the international law because it's a basic law that will promote peace and security among different countries. That is protection of human rights. Protection of human rights should be a top priority in any conflict resolution process, which here the human rights I talk about is about the unarmed civilians, not armed soldiers. Future security architecture, reevaluation of security arrangement, and cooperation and collective security. The war has led to a reevaluation of security arrangement in Europe and the world, with a focus on preventing future conflicts. Although cooperation and collective security is important as well, because countries should work together to build a more cooperative and collective security framework to address global challenges, so that those challenges should be solved better. And that's all. Thank you. Heroям слава, слава Україні.